Plot, Always, 2011. Written by Anonymous. A love story centered on ex-boxer Chulmin, Soji Sub, and telemarketer Jeong-hwa, Han Hyo-ju. He has closed his heart to the world and she remains spirited despite slowly losing her vision. Their fate intertwines when their past are revealed in their blooming relationship. Voiceover off.
When you're blind and watching movies, what will you find? A blind superhero whose superpowers are acting like he's not blind. A sighted actor over dramatically touching people's faces. Or maybe the whole joke is that they're bumping into different places. A spectacular, macular generation. Tunnel vision to your television. And do they off this movie with audio descriptions? They're movie buffs who know their stuff. You'll be thoroughly entertained. Join Sky and Melissa throughout film history and Citizen White.
Hello.
Hi.
And welcome to Citizen White Cane, the podcast where we tell you how many movies you're holding up. My name is Sky McLeod.
I'm Melissa Bukta.
And we are watching the Korean melodrama from 2011, Always, this week. So this is my pick. I was just Googling around. So I don't have any
like you do.
Yep, yeah, exactly. Eventually we have to Google because we can't have personal relationships with all the movies. But yeah, I figured we've done a lot of horror movies in the last month. But I thought it'd be nice to have another non-American movie.
Yes, I'm always down for a foreign film, and even though they're harder for me to access, harder for both of us to access.
Yes.
Yeah,
and this
I'm
one
always
especially
down for that.
was super inaccessible because we couldn't even get because I really am mad at Amazon because they all of the subtitled movies that we've done so far that were on Amazon streaming have had the subtitles baked in so that you can't, and I'll turn on closed captioning so that I can actually make it big enough for me to see it, and then the closed captioning will only be this is what the music is playing, this is who's talking, and it expects you to be able to read the subtitles, and I'm I just get so mad. You can't do that. You can't make it so that the subtitles are unadjustable because then it's so hard for us to read.
Right. If the subtitles appeared over a blanket or a pattern, I was
so
lost.
Hard. I had to pause so many times.
I could not read them.
Yeah, it was so if we are confused about plot points, that's why. Because it's already hard enough when we can understand the language because there'll be visual things that are in film school. They're how do you show this visually? And I'm always well, okay, but if you're not going to have audio descriptions, then that you're just making it so blind people don't know what's happening.
Exactly.
But whatever. This movie. And it's also a lot of people having these quiet emotions where they don't say anything and they just look.
Which is, that's fine. It actually didn't bother me a whole lot. I think I took this as like you said, as a giant refresher from a month long of just horror movies. So it was really nice that someone didn't get killed or murdered.
But it seemed way unnecessarily brutal at times.
Actually, yes. Yeah,
I was kind of disappointed. I was really wanting something and we were just very briefly talking about this before the podcast started, but I was thinking about the way he looks, and so were you.
Yes,
and
yes.
And how that is just a romance between a blind person and a sighted person, and how much more how much better they did a job of doing that.
Well, and all the boxing stuff, it doesn't come out of nowhere. He is an ex-boxer, but it just goes, it's this whole boxing thing that is just kind of put in there, and it feels like two different movies. It does. It feels a little disjointed. Granted, in the end, it works. It brings it all back together, kind of, for the most part, kind of. But
yeah, so we have our two characters. It's a romance. So we have a main, and it's a straight romance. We have a main male and female lead. And the blind person is actually the female lead in this one. Which I feel this is our first romance with a female lead that's blind.
She is Hyo Ju Han. Hyo Jun Han playing our blind character Jeong-hwa,
Yeah.
and
then our male lead.
is Ji Suab-so, and he is playing Cheol-min. And I don't speak Korean. I apologize.
Yeah, so we're both gonna butcher names,
But-
and we'll do our best.
Yeah, but it's always important to say the actors' names. So
Yeah.
yeah, because I mean, I bought them. I absolutely bought their performances. They were very charismatic and fun to watch.
Yeah. That's true. I was kind of annoyed at him for just like not doing a lot. Like, and then I think it's probably the script more than anything. He wasn't given enough to do. And this is coming specifically from my like own tastes, but I was just like, I just wanted like more understand, because I just felt so like cordoned off from him. And like, so it was really hard to like tell what he was thinking. And I
get that. But I agree with you. I think that is the script. He's just supposed to be this mysterious guy with this really awful past that is kind of sort of spoon-fed to us throughout the movie.
Yeah.
But at first, he comes off
it's kind of standoffish.
yeah, very stiff. Yeah, standoffish is a good way to say that.
Yeah, we do sort of in little bits and pieces learn about his past and who he is, because the first scene is between Jeong-hwa, yes, and him, and they're like, she comes to the like parking attendant booth that he's working at, kind of like in late phases. We also had a parking attendant worker.
Oh yeah, although that parking attendant was a douche.
Yeah, he was very ineffective, but also watching like things on TV. But
Yes.
they were watching dramas
Yes,
instead of porn in late phases.
yeah. I thought those scenes were cute though. They
Yeah,
bond.
those were cute.
Yeah, they bond over these Korean dramas that they're watching.
And
together.
and like originally it was because Jeong-hwa had like been friends with the older like man who had been working there up until our lead male protagonist, who we're going to call Mr. We've decided, so that
because she calls him that. So,
yes,
yeah,
and let's butcher his name.
Yes. Yes. And yeah, she kind of flies into the booth and just shoves all of this food at him. That
Right, and he's like not saying anything, which like in that case I'm like, okay, well that works with the plot, that he's just being like, why is she giving me things? And so he's silent, and then when he starts speaking, she's like, who are you? Which is cute, which I think that was very cute. I liked that.
It was a really cute meet cute.
Yeah, it was good. And that was when I was like, oh, this could be like the way he looks, kind of like, you know, he learns how to be like a sighted guide and learns to be, you know, better about this stuff and support her in the way she needs it, and she's like a very like sufficient blind person and like confident, and like, and it's more about him like figuring out how to not be a dick about this. It didn't happen at all. It was almost the opposite of that.
It's not that. It's not that at all. And I had the same high hopes going into this. Oh, this is gonna be a really interesting relationship, because she seems incredibly capable, and she's going to teach him, and
it's just so not
it's not that at all,
because in a way like it is the opposite, because it's almost like he teaches her how to be emotionally distant and like want to see
right, and he teaches her,
like
how,
ruins all the
exactly.
good things about her.
right
She takes away all that's good about her. That's very romantic.
We see her life, and being a blind person is frustrating. It's hard. It's not easy. Take it from two blind people who know. There are definitely days when I get frustrated, and I'm sure there are days when you get frustrated, but the first thing I don't think is, gee whiz, I wish I could see.
Right. Like, you can get frustrated, but you're never at, I mean, at least for me, I'm never at my eyesight. I'm always frustrated at the fact that I'm not being accommodated, and that the systems aren't built for me, and that like my needs are not valued in society. But I'm never thinking like, because there's just really nothing like worse about being a blind person, like at all. Like, there's no reason to think that. I mean, obviously people are told to think that, but it's silly. And it's also like, and the one excuse I had was like, she we have one of the car crash, because everyone goes blind from a car crash, of course.
Right. That's how it works.
Yeah, exactly. That's how all blindness happens. But that's when she's like, I think, like graduating from high school or something.
So from what I gathered, yeah, they were taking her family was taking a last holiday.
Yeah,
and because she says something about Children's Day, I don't know.
That is a
I don't
holiday.
know what that means. Okay, so yeah, Children's Day is a holiday, and they were going out to have fun and be a family together.
Okay, for some reason in the subtitles, yeah, it's at a certain, especially in the like later third, I was just like, I can't. My eyes are hurting so badly.
It was hard. I'm really surprised I didn't take a break.
Me
during
too.
this.
I kept thinking for the second half I should take a break, but I just was like, I just need to get this over with. I'm gonna have a lot of trouble starting again at this point, so I just want to like.
I mean,
power through it.
Yeah, I mean, granted, it wasn't a slog.
Yeah, it was just the subtitles were hard, and that made it feel more like reading the subtitles felt like a slog, and so then. And I do worry that like clouded my judgment in the movie a little bit, because I was just like by the end really frustrated at still needing to read the subtitles and having absolutely no way to make them bigger, to make like the contrast better, to like have someone like have the computer read it to me. It was just I was feeling that feeling of, why is the world not accommodating me?
I think because I woke up and this was what I did first thing in the morning. I'm always really, really sharp first thing in the morning at just doing things and being much better at focusing on things.
Right.
So because I did this pretty much right after I woke up, I was able to.
I did it late in the afternoon, which is, I mean, like kind of going from the least, everyone is more tired in the afternoon, but it was like kind of closer to where I start getting my most energy, because I'm like, I get it like around 4 or 5, so I was almost in the like fresher point, which is probably why I just like powered through it, like, because if I'd done it in the morning, I don't think I would have been like, I'm done, this is too much work. But yeah, so that's good. We both picked a good time to watch it, I guess.
Yes.
But yeah, it's so it's hard to say exactly how old she was then during the car crash. I couldn't really figure it out.
I know. Well, I think somewhere she says teenager, but to be honest, she looks like the same person sitting in the car. Like, oh wow, it's just her.
It's not a different actor,
right? No,
or anything.
Yeah.
It's not. They don't even do like makeup or anything,
right? Which fine, whatever. Maybe it's a stylistic choice,
right? But it means that I guess like we have to assume that she was like probably like at least 15 or older. I feel like,
yeah.
So then that like. It's like I hate admitting this, but I'm like, okay, that does make it feel like it's slightly more believable that she would want to see if her entire brain, like a lot of brain development, not all of her brain development, because she had a whole 10 years of being blind during like the really hardcore brain development before you're like 25. But I'm like, okay, so 15 years, that's a decent amount. Like you would think at this point, depending on how old she is, that like that, her brain, I mean, it's just the way that she was acting seemed like her brain had really adapted. Like she used Braille for like her telemarketing job, which like, and she had this whole system going, and she was like, she had these giant fucking stairs that I would never go near in a million years.
Oh, I know.
And that she was just like running up and down where her apartment is.
Even Mr. when he takes her home that after an incident at the parking lot, he looks at those stairs and is just like,
fuck
no.
That.
Yeah.
Well, I mean, I would do.
He's also carrying her on his back, but
right.
I chuckled. But yeah, those stairs are so dangerous.
Yes.
Well, and even the people that live around her. Why are you out at night? What? You should be careful. Be careful.
Yeah, there's a whole. And so she like seems like she's doing stuff that's more like that. She's taking blind people risks that I wouldn't take, like, because I don't think it's worth it to do that. And she's obviously very, very capable, above what she really needs to be to survive, hopefully. Yet she, her brain could just fully develop back into being a sighted person, and that she's like functionally a sighted person. Like, because that's the only way this could make sense, that she would, first of all, agree to getting her eyesight back, which she does. I feel like, I don't know if we've specifically said that yet, but that does happen.
Yeah.
And she says right away, she's like, I don't want my vision back, but then she gives a terrible reason, which is like, I'm being punished for like my parents dying because of me, which I mean,
which
like,
we find
not
out
to trauma shame, but
right, but still, which we find out, and this is where the melodrama. I mean, it's a melodrama, obviously, but I think, in my opinion, this is where the melodrama kicks in
so
hardcore.
ridiculous.
So we find out that Mr.'s violent past is basically what caused the accident that caused her to go blind.
Which is so I think I actually at that point was like, no, like actually out loud, because I was so mad.
I thought we were gonna have to deal with the falling out of them. Like, I thought we were gonna have to deal with, okay, she's gonna get mad at him because he did this, and he's gonna get mad at her because she can't move on. Oh, granted, that's not what happened.
It's not what happened.
I'm glad that we didn't have to sit through that. But
yeah, I was like really wanting that to not happen, and I forgot that it didn't happen because it just still felt like such a slog after that. I was like, because like it's almost worse, because what happens is it's not worse, that would be horrible, and I didn't want to watch that. Right. But like what he decides is that she should get her eyesight back, and now instead of like the fact that they seem to be in a good place, that they've like that she's forgiven him for the whole thing, and then it seems like they could like really build a healthier.
They're a really beautiful, cute little couple. We get several montages of them just building this life together. He gets her a dog. He helps fix up her apartment. She gets him to go back into the gym and practice and take better care of himself.
Yeah, they're kind of like, I mean, like, it started with them not really communicating, which I'm like, come on, guys, talk to each other. Very annoying. But then I'm like, okay, so they like, we don't know yet how well they've learned to communicate, but there's at least, we could, like, build a good communicating relationship on top of, like, what is already there. But no, the worst possible thing that could, like, the worst of all possible worlds happens.
He finds out that there is a surgery that she could get that could replace her corneas, and bring back her vision. The problem, the surgery is super expensive
because it's dumb. You don't need it, so why would it's cosmetic at that point? Basically.
Yeah, so he decides that the solution to get her this money, this is the best. He decides that the solution is to basically change his identity and enroll himself in illegal Muay Thai boxing,
which like is like very likely to kill him.
You either pass out or you die.
Right. So he's like basically a suicide mission to get money for surgery she said she didn't want and like could very definitely be happy without, and like it would potentially just cause her more pain in like the real life version of this. Like
you were a very happy couple. You were
building a life together. You had a dog. Everyone was happy, and and on top of that, like if this isn't bad enough, he does not tell her any of this. He's just like, I have money all of a sudden. Also, you're going into surgery. I'll be there. Bye.
And then the next shot is them in the hospital, and then she's like, I'll see you when I get back, right? And he's like, yeah, and he's like, oh, absolutely. And I'm like, are you fucking kidding me?
What an asshole.
The next shot, he's in fucking Thailand.
Yeah. Which is just like, she doesn't need this.
No.
And it's just so abusive and shitty. I'm like, I was so mad.
But here's the thing. If you love her, which he clearly does, he loves her, absolutely. And obviously he does because he's willing to do this for her. But if you love her, why would you do this?
Yeah, well, that's the problem.
You're gonna die. You have to erase your identity because it's so illegal. You can't come back into the country.
On top of that, like, first of all, you're forcing this blind person to have sight, not good, and then you're like traumatizing them because you have told her that she is the reason that you're going off to die, which is like such emotional abuse. Like that is like saying like, you know, if you don't like whatever, I'll kill myself. Like that is just like such a fucking abusive move. Makes me so mad. And like, oh, and then on top of that, it's all for her to get her sight when, like, that is not what she needs. She says she doesn't want it. Like, which, granted, yeah, again, like, not really for a good reason, but also, like, maybe instead of spending a bunch of money, you could just, like, spend time with her and working on, like, reminding her that she's an extremely capable person, and there's really no reason to be sad about her blindness, but it's like, she doesn't actually seem that sad about it. Like, feels more like his deal and not hers at all.
Mm-hmm. Well, and so we have to watch her, you know, she gets her sight back, which is Woof. I mean, it's
So
incredibly
stupid.
inaccurate.
It's so stupid.
I get it. She might still retain, like you said, visual memory because she lost her sight at 15, but still, it's very, very quickly she's up and walking around and she's recognizing
Yeah, she can
things.
tell
and
all the
she has
signs.
depth perception.
Yeah.
And it's like, okay. And then it's, cut to 2 years later and she's driving a car and doing all this stuff. And I'm not saying that that's
it's
not possible.
ridiculous.
I don't know. But
Yeah, but then on top of that, like all the other things she's doing is stuff she was already able to do, and it's making it. But it's like exactly City Lights, because it's like she's like, now that she has her sight, there's all this pottery and stuff that she was making beforehand. Like, well, she was blind, so she could never like have a store where she sells it. But now that she has sight, she can sell the stuff she was already making.
And that's what Mr. says. He's like, we're going to build this life together and we're going to have a pottery shop and you're going to do your thing and then I'm going to deliver these things for you. But in none of that equation, sight didn't factor into any of it. They were this is what their plan was. They were just going to do this.
Right, they could be a team of people, because making her do it all alone seems like not helpful. Like, it seems like putting more burden on her to do this work.
But that's okay. I'm giving you the gift of vision and then I'm going to go die.
And that's good enough. When she's just like, I'm going to look at you for 23 hours of the day.
Right. No, you're not.
No. Which it's like, come on, dude. Like, she is obviously telling you that she's only doing this for you. Like, it feels like that's like kind of the implicit like thing behind that is like, I don't want this. I want, I mean, I guess I don't want this as strong, because it's not like her character is just like really against it, which would be more accurate, like At First Sight, which is based on a real story. So that's why you have a blind character who doesn't want to be sighted.
It's hard because I'm always going to compare stuff like this now to At First Sight, because it is more
it's
scientifically
based
accurate.
on a real story of a real blind. It's
Yeah.
the only one that actually is based on a blind person's experience, which tells you a lot about how that's the different one. But yeah, no, it's oh my god, it is just so far from like any understanding of blindness. And
and we see that she's her own her own person and can make her own decisions multiple times in the movie. I mean, the part where she goes to the hairdresser because she's really infatuated with him and he fixes her drain and she invites him to a music festival or to a concert, and she goes to the hairdresser to get her hair done, and looks gorgeous. She look cute no matter what she does, but she looks gorgeous and she's got her hair all done. And the next scene you see she's wearing this cute little dress and she's got her hair done, and then she just looks at the camera and you can tell in her eyes and in her expression, this is not who I am. I don't feel comfortable like this. So she goes to meet him and I noticed, oh, she's wearing the yellow sweater. Oh, maybe she just is wearing it. That's her ubiquitous yellow sweater. Maybe she's wearing it under her dress or whatever, or over her dress. But the camera pulls back and she's back in her own clothes. She's who she is, and she's content with who she is.
right, yeah, this is interesting because I actually didn't see this at all.
Oh, okay, yeah. So yeah, she goes to the hairdresser. They're talking about what hairstyle she wants, and she says, she wants something like on the drama on TV.
Right, because she gets all this information about what the people in the drama are wearing
from him. Yeah. So, and then the next scene, she's getting ready, and she's got this cute little like summer dress on.
Right.
But she doesn't wear it.
I did not realize that at all.
No, me neither. I don't know how or why I clicked in to that, because that's something I would absolutely miss. Yeah,
I mean, you did see it though.
Yeah,
I mean, they do that whole getting ready thing is very poignant. I think like, what was it? I mean, like the subtitles really were making it hard for me to do a lot of focusing. I think that's something that if I could have heard the subtitles, I would have noticed, but it was just, I wasn't able to like clock any information like that. I couldn't like clock exactly what she was wearing. I could just be like, oh, she looks fancy now, but her hair was the same, so I think that was like enough that I didn't know. She puts on like lipstick and stuff. Right. I mean, yeah, you don't want to like be what you're not for someone. That's a good moral,
right? And if you don't feel comfortable in that, don't do it.
Especially if you're blind, like what you wear. It's all, like being comfortable is a big aspect of it, because that can give you confidence if you feel comfortable in the clothes and you feel like it's you.
She has nothing to prove to this guy. Why does she need to impress him? She's giving him her time. That's enough.
Right. Well, and also like, what? I mean, sort of what do either of them seen each other, I guess. I mean, she is kind of like, I was like, she's like a manic pixie blind girl.
Yes. Oh my God. I got the same. Yeah. I got the same vibe.
It's like, yeah, and I think that's like the first half of the movie, very much like that. And then like both of them change for the worse or dumb thing. I don't know what it is, but yeah, she definitely, especially in the first half, has like kind of a, is this character, are we supposed to like be caring what this character's thinking? Because it seems like she's there to, like, we are so focused on why all of the different like emotional forces that are hitting this guy, and then she's just like, I'm here, I'm blind, I'm capable, like
I'm gonna turn your life around. I'm gonna show you that it doesn't, that you can live however you want no matter what. Yeah.
And it's not even like a neat like kind of like, oh, it makes sense because he's a boxer, she's a blind person, and she like does telemarketing, and he like has a weird sordid past that's kind of confusing at times, and like I think he went to jail. Like you're just like, you're kind of waiting for there to be like an overarching metaphor because they're just like throwing all this shit at you, so you're like, okay, so there's got to be some metaphor in here, and then you're like, no, that's just a lot of shit that like, it just, none of it really makes a lot of sense. You're like, the eyesight thing just seems entirely like, I mean, I don't, like, I guess it's just, it almost seems like it's a way for him to sacrifice himself. Like it feels exactly like in City Lights, that that's the entire purpose of her being blind, is that it's not actually about her as a character at all. It's just so that like the main male character can like sacrifice something for her to get her sight, and then like disappear, because a blind woman could never be like have a happy relationship that's supportive and with someone who's there and not trying to fix them. Like that's not possible.
I think they liked the irony of she gaining her sight and then him coming back absolutely bedraggled and almost unrecognizable and beaten up, and her.
I thought you meant in City Lights.
Oh, sorry, no.
Yeah,
this movie,
both of them so far,
and her absolutely not recognizing him.
So
because she's
City
never,
Lights.
yes, the City Lights, because she's never seen him. She's touched him, but she's never seen him.
Right. Yeah, it's City Lights basically. It's
pretty much.
Literally, I was like, City Lights came before this, so is this like literally just ripping it off? Because it felt like, I was like, there's not enough different. Like it's kind of the exact same thing.
There's even boxing involved in City Lights.
Yeah.
There's the whole scene.
Yeah, exactly. I just really was like, is this the Koreans? I truly thought that.
I think this is the Korean City Lights.
Because it's just like, and oh my gosh, yeah. I mean, it's not like he's operating under false pretenses with her that much. I mean, he like tries to hide his sordid past, but then while she's still blind, but then she's like, why are you lying to me? And then he's like, like, she's like, why don't you trust me to tell me what's going on? Which I'm like, fair. And
that's a legit question.
Yeah. And then he's like, well, I got arrested for being my sordid past before. But then he's also like he's still not very forthcoming with things. Yeah. And
we do need to talk about her boss though.
Oh my God. Yeah. This is so
dumb.
Was so dumb's not the right word,
right? But it was so uncomfortable and infuriating. Yeah. It's every parent's worst nightmare for their disabled kid, especially if they're a girl.
Well, yeah, and that we have like so few, like, capable female protagonists that we watch on this podcast who are blind, and that we have to like fucking watch one of them like get first of all harassed at their workplace and then like
almost raped.
Yeah, like the beginning of a rape.
Yeah, I fully believe his intention was to rape her.
Oh, absolutely, yeah.
Yep.
And it's really, really horrible.
Well, he basically comes over to her house uninvited with wine, probably already drunk. I think he was already drunk.
Yeah, definitely.
Barges in, doesn't invite himself in. He barges into her house,
obviously violent,
her apartment. Yeah,
the character entirely is just like aggressive from the first scene.
He's a very two-dimensional character. He's an asshole. He's there to be an asshole. He's there to get the shit kicked out of him
and
by
to be
Mister.
Like a sexist ass,
right?
Or like and a rapist specifically. Yeah.
Yes. So he barges into her place. They sit down at the table together, and he comments on, why didn't she serve him tea? Oh, she probably can't operate the fire. And I'm just like, bitch, I would have punched him.
Yeah.
Like, no.
I mean, like, I would have frozen up and been like, I'm so scared.
Oh yeah, of course. And then it just gets weirder. It just gets weirder, and yeah, she dodges his advances. He doesn't like that, and he attacks her.
It's really, when that scene starts, I was just already really mad because it's just like you put this blind woman on the top floor with these unbelievably unsafe stairs where they have like a flower painted on them. So I didn't even know they were stairs the first shot we see of them because they look like a wall. So it's like such a horrible thing to put a blind person at the top of these stairs already as a character. And now you have her living alone, like she doesn't have a housemate or anything. And then we have someone who comes in and basically like a home invasion rape of like her boss. It's just I was just so mad at that point that like, this is a blind woman, like why do you have to do all this stuff to her as a character? Like this can happen on like the extreme level, like, you know, on in extreme situations, but a lot of blind women also can have independence. And when we see this as like, this is it, this is all we get on screen, it's just really upsetting because it's just like, it's, you know, we live in the world, like we want to see like a character that's capable and like aspirational, and we don't want to like just see the same like violence that we have to fear on screen as opposed to like the actual, you know, potential of what we can be. It just, I don't know, it just made me so mad. And it's just like, she's so like helpless in that moment. Well, and then like, she just didn't need to be like, they didn't need to make her that way. It's like the writers did that.
Well, and then my first thought was, oh my god, Mr. has to come and rescue her. And then I was like, wait, why am I thinking that? I mean, obviously,
he does have to, because she doesn't have the ability to do it. Like they put her in a horrible situation as writers. I mean, like, because I'm trying to like say this in a way that I'm like, that's not saying that this doesn't happen, like,
right, sure, I'm absolutely, this could happen and does happen, and that's right, and it's just horrible. It's
just like, I don't want to be forced to watch this as opposed when I could be watching something that's like the way he looks, you know. Like I want to watch something happy.
Or she could have beat him up.
Yeah,
I'm not saying every blind person or any woman or whatever knows martial arts, you know. No,
I just don't want to see rape in movies at all. No, I'm kind of done.
Yeah, I know.
I'm done. It's
as a plot device.
Yeah,
at all.
Because it always winds up being a plot device because it's such an extreme thing to put on screen. But
it's like in the episode in the 4th season of Downton Abbey. It's just horrible.
I haven't seen Downton Abbey.
Yeah,
it's too often that it's in shows and stuff, and I don't know, maybe this is coming from doing domestic violence work where I'm like, I'm done with this, like I'm just tired of it. I like it's, you know, you watch shows to like see, again, it's like it can be aspirational of like what, you know, your life could be, and not like that the world is, you know, 100% kind, but like you can just have characters that are really good at like navigating their surroundings and are capable.
Right. As a script writing, you know, standpoint, obviously I think I know why it's in there. I mean, Mr. has to come and rescue her, and this supposedly bonds them together. But again, I'm not trying to justify it at all.
Right. But then it's also like, yeah, he has to come rescue her as well. So it's like this idea of she is incapable of living alone, and why did a blind person try to live alone?
And everybody was right. You know, something was going to happen to her. They just knew it.
Right. And then it's also like, it couldn't be that maybe it was the boss's fault for being a fucking dick that like shouldn't have been, you know, that should have had some fucking been fired from there because of abuse. I mean, this is 2011, so that was before we even started thinking maybe we could start firing these people. But like, you know, again, it's like, that's not unrealistic. It's just like, it's just exhausting to have to watch that. And I think that like, yeah, I mean, it just, in a way, it sort of normalizes it, like, because even though, like, obviously you're not supposed to be like, wow, what a great guy, you know, this rapist boss, like, but it's making it seem like, well, it's just a part of life. And I think that, like, that kind of just, like, well, the shrug is, like, you know, just as bad, because it's just both of them are just allowing this stuff to happen. And I think that like by constantly watching it happen in media, like it just makes it feel more like a shrug, especially when it's like, this is not saying anything about toxic masculinity. Like, you're just putting a blind woman in a place where she's in danger, which is like all of the movies that, like, she's in danger, she wants to see. That seems to be all blind people want, like blind women specifically. Like, you know, some of the blind men can like do other stuff, but blind women, they have to fucking, you know, want to be sighted and not be able to do anything by themselves without a man being there. It's just, oh, it's so annoying. I'm like, I don't know why, it's just really got me.
It's just one more thing that we didn't need to see. Just
yeah.
Yeah, I mean, I guess I don't feel like if I could only take out one thing, I would take out the rape and leave the boxing. I didn't enjoy the boxing at all, but at least
I could take out one thing. I would take out her gaining her sight back, but you can't just take out one thing is the problem. You need to take out like 4 or 5.
Yeah. I mean,
how would we make this better? We don't always do that segment, but it would be interesting to think.
Yeah. Well, obviously she doesn't get her sight back.
Yeah.
I would have loved to, and this is so cliche, but I would have loved to have seen, you know, they build their life together, and he goes back to the gym, and he is doing well. Like, he's starting to do really well in fights. He was gonna get into MMA, like the US league. I mean, he was gonna go places. He's
probably gonna get more money over time.
Yes, but no, I'm gonna fuck off to Thailand and do this. No, so I'd like to see that, and I'd like to see her come to his matches and them support each other.
Yeah. I mean, it would just be nice if it was the way he looks after that first scene.
Right. But then, you know, you have little to no conflict.
Like between the two of them. Yeah, I mean
a movie, unfortunately, a movie needs conflict.
Yeah, I mean, but also, like, I do think that, like, ableism and blind people is enough conflict for a fucking movie. You don't actually need to create all this bullshit. But, like, yeah, I mean, like, but that's the way he looks is like learning, you know, about it. And then there's also like more of a focus on the blindness being the thing that's the steady, you know, kind of the stability in the relationship is the blindness, you know, as opposed to it being just another agent of chaos in like an entirely chaotic picture. And I think that is just a better way of going about it, is when you see that the blindness is like, we have this thing is steady and this is what this is, and we can build our world around that, and like, and that there's a beauty in that being the center of things. It's very metaphorical language right now, but I do think that like, you know, and then you also can create us versus the world. Like, this movie is none of that. It's entirely us, or you versus me versus the world versus, like, I don't know what's going on with the world. What's happening over there? Why can't we just start by, like, addressing ableism? Mm-hmm. Like, and then everything, it just feels like things will follow from there. But that feels like a good first step, or at least a good orientation in general, to always be addressing ableism.
Yeah. Like,
and that be the main focus. But I don't, like, some of the times I don't know. It's just when people talk about like, oh, the psychological trauma of being blind, it sounds so much like the psychiatrist that would talk about like gay people and like it's so hard to be gay, and it's like, no, it's fucking homophobia is the cause of this. It's not being gay. It's the cause of it. It's just so irrational to me, and I get so frustrated. It's just like those ideas are so toxic, and they like just kind of, they just feel like a lot harder to address because it's just like some weird cognitive bias that you're like, don't know. Like, it's just completely the wrong way to go about this.
Yeah, and showing this movie to blind kids, I mean, blind girls especially, blind, visually impaired, what are they going to take away from it? Oh, okay, a man will come along and he'll love me so much that he will sacrifice himself to pay to get my sight back. And having my sight back that's the one thing that's gonna save my relationship, and make everything
make all of the things that I could capably do without sight and was proven could do without sight. Now it's just like better, and also I'm getting all these things from that. it is super rational, and it's just like very obviously sight is being used as like isn't it dramatic, that she can't see, isn't this like a a heart like
she treats him in the hospital. She gives him a massage. She learned massage therapy, and she gives him a massage, and he can't speak, and she's just doing her thing, and she leaves, and then finally his hand opens to reveal the river pebble. They went to the river and they picked pebbles, and they each still have their own pebble. And well, I mean, obviously we know it's him,
right? Which I was just like, this is not that dramatic. I don't know. It all seemed.
I can't help it though. I'm a bit of a sucker for the last shot. The way they met. They both end up back at the river because by now she's finally figured out. Oh my God, it's Mister. Yeah. And so they both end up by the river where she has erected a sculpture in honor of them, of their place by the river. So it's a table and chairs, and there's braille along the edge of the table, which is the Romeo and Juliet quote that she keeps on her nightstand.
Oh, I didn't get that. Could you see the braille?
I couldn't read it, but the pattern was the same.
Oh, that's nice. That's awesome. Because I couldn't see it really that well originally. What was I don't even remember what that quote was.
Off the top of my head,
who knows?
Something about seeing out of darkness, but something.
I guess that makes sense.
It was a quote from Romeo and Juliet.
Yeah, and so then they're back together, which I was just like, be fucking pissed at him. Do not take. I mean, like, I don't know. I would have been so furious at him, just being like, what the fuck is wrong with you? I only wanted to do this to look at your face, which is what she says.
Yeah, exactly. And
like also
you took off.
When he does this, it's like he dies or he becomes disfigured. That seems like the only two logical things. Like going into this, I was like, so there's only two options: that he dies or gets disfigured. If the whole idea is that she's supposed to see his face, then it's like, this is so obviously a stupid idea. Like, if even like giving them the benefit of the doubt with all of this ridiculousness, you should know that this is not going to. It's like the gift of the Magi. If you like told both people or if you told one of the people what was going to happen, they're like, yep, still seems like a good plan. It's just so bad. I don't know, this movie like really like, I think because I was just like, it could have like, I think the first scene was really sweet and could have been a better movie, and then like it kind of just got worse and worse every scene.
It was really good up until the middle, or at least up until the point where he decides to go get the money to pay for her surgery. Great movie up until then, and then it just kind of.
But there's like a lot of stuff even before that that's just kind of I was like, well, it just kind of kept going in the wrong direction, and I kept being like, you started from a place where you could have gone somewhere, but we spent the entire movie going in the opposite direction of where we needed to be going, and so it's just like, I think if it had started in a completely like just, this is so dumb place, I would have felt better, because then I could have adjusted. But it was the fact that I was like, this could have, the same first scene, you could have had a good movie after that first scene, but then it just kept, like, the fact that it was just slowly moving away from a good movie, I think was the most infuriating thing to me.
I think the key word in this entire conversation is melodrama.
It is very melodramatic.
What it is. Yeah, it's a melodrama. This is the kind of movie I would show my mom.
But like, okay, so melodrama, I feel like if it only works if it's campy to some extent, right? Like, it kind of has to be, because it's ridiculous if it's not. To me, at least. I don't know. Is that wrong?
I don't know. I mean, no, you're not wrong. I mean, a melodrama is by nature campy. I mean, I always think of melodrama is so okay. Back home, we have this festival in February called Fur Rendezvous, which is, it's like winter carnival essentially, and there are all these events that go on. And one of the things that goes on is the Fur Rendezvous melodrama, which is written by someone local, and it's got music and performance, actors obviously, and it's usually a silly, like a mystery story, like, you know, someone gets murdered on the Klondike, or, you know, some silly thing. And each of the characters are archetypes basically, and you have, you know, the ditzy blonde and the studly Mountie who's come in to save the day, and you have the dastardly bad guy and everything, and So that's what I think about. That's the best way for me to think about melodramas is you have these stock characters in these over the top situations. You know, when the bad guy comes on stage, you boo and hiss, and when the good guy comes on stage, you shout hooray. And, you know,
and you can make them almost as like commentary on media itself, which is like fine. And I think this is the thing, is like there is a line where it stops being okay when you bring in like disability, and this would be the same for like race or something. When you bring in these, and even like the rape scene I think also goes into this, when you bring in like actual oppression and the dynamics of that, and then you just do not deal with it. Like you just use it as just a plot device, and you use it as part of the drama when it's like, when it feels really not appropriate to be there, you know, because it's one thing if it's like over the top in a way that doesn't feel like it's just picking on people with no power, but it's like this feels like it's just exploitative to people with less power in society, and it feels bad. Like, and I feel like it's hard because it's like there is a line where it's like it goes from really fun to like being like, I just hate this, and it's hard to like always pinpoint exactly where that is. But I think that like the fact that the blindness is seen so much as part of the drama and like not as an identity is really, like, I think for me the most infuriating thing about it.
I think that's a really good description though, or way of talking about the events, and as far as that's melodrama. That's how they're melodramatic. Is all of these things happen, but nothing is commented on. Nothing comes up again. Nothing has any repercussion. After the rape scene, we never see the boss again. Right. His name is not spoken. He's served his purpose. He's gone. He's out of the story.
Which, yeah, I mean that, yeah, and I feel like it is funny because like in a way, like the blind stuff is almost a different problem, because like the rape culture is more, you know, a problem in itself, whereas I feel like this didn't even make a disabled character, like the movie didn't even try to actually have a disabled character in it, like, you know, it's just like it was kind of like putting on the, like, using the identity as a hat you could like take on and off, and like making it very inconsequential to the characters, which is why I'm like a disabled person, and I'm an advocate for disabled people, because, you know, a person with a disability really downplays it when it's a big part of your identity, and there's like, that's something to be appreciated and loved, and I really don't like when it's seen as just something that you just take on and off, and that is, you know,
or something that you need to overcome.
Right, yeah.
I have to be better than my disability.
Or just not have it, apparently.
Right. What does that even mean, better than your disability? Your disability doesn't make you worse.
Right.
It doesn't make you an inferior person.
Yeah. Yeah, it's really frustrating. I don't know. This movie, like, it just got under my skin or something. I'm realizing, like, as I'm talking about it, I'm like, this really upset me.
you wanted a light melodrama about a loving couple, well, and you got this.
I think that's part of it too, because I was just like, I'm so ready for something that's like quiet and like, you know, not over the top violence, and that's, you know, actually tries to think about what a blind identity would be like. And
I mean, yeah, because after last week, I mean, Repo, as much as I love it, because I still do, forever will love it. It's a violent movie. It's covered in blood. So this, and
the blind characters, like a very, God, we've had a lot of blind characters getting sight recently. I've like so done with that at this point. Problem is, this one, it doesn't say in the like description of the movie, so we had to watch it to find out. I don't know. What else? Do we have anything else about the movie before we do like ratings?
I think I've got it. I think I said my piece.
Okay.
Pretty much. Yeah.
Do you want to go first with your rating?
Sure. Okay. This is generous. You know me. You know how I rate. I'm sitting at about a 2090.
Okay.
I want to give it a 2100, but I can't. I just can't. But I will give it a 2090, mostly for the first few scenes.
Yeah.
Those are pretty amazing, and I can't help it. I am a bit of a sucker for that ending. I did, you know, I'm not going to say I didn't feel anything. I'm not I'm not that, cold, unfeeling
Just
person.
I think I am. Is
they're-
it just because they're reunited?
Yeah, and I mean that's the table and chair sculpture is pretty sick. I mean, it's
Okay.
like, you erected this monument to your relationship on the riverbank that you both ended up at. It's so
We don't need to
stupid.
speak to each other.
Right. It's so stupid, and I loved it.
That's weird. So yeah, that's yeah.
Yeah, and the puppy was cute. Easy.
Oh, yeah.
The puppy is cute.
We didn't really talk about Easy very much.
Easy. He goes and gets her a puppy. He's just like, here. And I'm like,
Yeah.
whoa.
Not a good gift, dude.
Not a good gift.
It's when that happens in movies. Sometimes they'll like joke about it because it's the worst gift. You should never give someone a puppy.
No. Oh my God, there was the worst. So there used to be PSAs about why you should not do this.
Oh, no.
So sorry, super sidebar. You can probably find this on YouTube too. Okay, so we opened at a birthday party, and all these little kids are so happy, and it's this little guy's birthday, and his dad's like, okay, time for your present, and it's a puppy. It's this amazing puppy, and they're petting the puppy, and they're loving on the puppy, and it's great. Cut to dissolve to the table's empty, and it's just the puppy on the table eating like the leftover cake or whatever. And cut to the next scene, which is this puppy in the animal shelter, and the father and son are walking away.
Oh my God.
And I can't remember what they say to each other or something, but basically the PSA is basically about like, seriously consider before you adopt a dog.
Wow.
It's so jarring.
So
It's awful.
oh God. Yeah.
I'm almost positive you can find it on YouTube.
Yeah. Don't do that, guys.
No, don't do that. Please don't do that. But Easy the dog was fun to watch.
The dog, it was a very cute dog. Yeah. Just yeah. If it was
she loved him.
yeah, and he was like, he could be guide dog. Like, not how guide dogs work,
No,
dude.
not at all.
This guy's so dumb.
I
don't
know.
what he was thinking. Oh my gosh.
But yeah, 2090 is where I am. I mean, even with all the misgivings, I would probably still show this to my mom because this is the kind of movie that she likes.
But would you show it to any friends who don't like this kind of movie?
No.
Okay.
Fuck no. I was really hoping for another movie I could add to my collection
I
of like
know.
things that I could come back to.
Yeah, it's not.
It's not though.
It's not
I
that.
don't know. Unless I'm showing this to somebody, I don't know if I would ever come back to it.
Yeah.
Which is really sad because I really wanted something different.
Yeah, me too. What if we've watched only like 3 good movies about blind characters? So it's not like it's been that great of a track record so far. Oh, okay. Well, for my rating, I think I'm going to give it a 20/25.
Oh, damn. Okay. I understand.
The 5 is for the first scene. It was cute how she didn't recognize or she didn't know that he was a different person, and then it could have been endearing that he like had to learn you have to communicate with a blind person. You can't just sit there and just dumbfounded. Like, that's not, that could be like an adorable learning about each other thing. Yeah, and then there's the rest of the movie, and it's, yeah, she gets her sight back, always really, cuts off like 150 points for me every time. And then we had to watch this blind woman who's just tortured by the writers for not just feels pretty illegitimate reasons, because it just felt like it was because she was a blind woman. It didn't really feel like there was any narrative reason for it other than just like, well, of course, blind women, she must get raped, and also just be pining for sightedness or something. I don't know, it just, yeah, it felt like she was not handled well, and I don't know, maybe it's just a big pet peeve of mine, but I really hate watching things where characters in a couple don't communicate with each other, because that's like, you're never gonna be a good healthy couple if you can't communicate. That's like really the number one thing. It's not like a good thing to help your relationship. It's like you cannot have a functioning relationship without it. It is like just the definition of a functioning relationship is communication, and I just get furious when it's like you see people are just doing such dumb things and not talking to each other, and what he did is unexcusable. She
Right.
should have never taken him back, and also like what he did was just unexcusable. He shouldn't have done it. There was no reason to do it. It was completely like ridiculous, and the fact that the movie thought that that was a valid choice was just really upsetting. And yeah, it was ridiculous that the man on fire, because we didn't say this, but there's a man on fire is like part of the car crash that like like accidentally a man is on fire falling from a window. It's very convoluted.
Not accidentally.
Well, he sets himself on
it is
fire.
very convoluted. Yeah. Yeah, he self-immolates and defenestrates to get away from Mister.
Well, the fire part did not feel, I mean, I guess it's like, he set himself on fire as like a suicide thing.
Yes.
There wasn't like, it wasn't to get away from like because he's like, no, I'm trying to hold on to him, like, so it's not like he did the wrong thing exactly. Like, he was also being hired to like beat people up for money, so he's kind of a victim of his situation. It's not like he did anything that was like on his own morally like evil. He was just didn't have a lot of options and was, doing what he could with what he had. Anyway, whatever. But yeah, it bothered the lot of the movie bothered me, and I felt like it could have done something, and I think also we just have the blind women that have been in the movies that we've seen have just been so like just subjugated and like abused,
infantilized, fetishized,
and also like so many of them for some reason want to see like where that seems irrational to me too. Like it's just hard because I'm just like, I don't know, I just keep wanting us to watch a movie with a good blind female character, and I'm frustrated that at this point we've yet to be able to figure that out. And what is this, episode 32 or something? So it feels like we should have gotten that by now, but we haven't.
Not yet.
No,
we're still looking.
Yeah, if anyone just to quickly go to the thing that we say then, if you know of a movie with an actual good and blind female character, you should leave us a voice message. But yeah, so that's my 2025. That is my rating. We have a good like difference today.
Good.
But I think we're mostly in agreement though, emotionally on a lot of it.
Yes, most definitely.
So then the next thing is what we're blindsided by this week.
Right. Cool. Who's going first?
I can go first.
Yeah, go for it.
So my thing that I'm blindsided by this week is a YouTube mashup album.
Oh, cool.
The artist's name is Neil Cicierega. We have a lot of names that are hard to pronounce today. I had to like look it up on Wikipedia. But I'm just going to play a little section.
Any mashup. My ears are like peaked
It's
up.
kind of like a girl talk, but a little bit more like silly.
Ooh.
Went the distance, now I'm back on my feet. Just a man and his tiger. So many tigers, it happens to tigers. You trade your passion for glory. Don't lose your grip on the tigers. Dreams you must fight just to keep them alive. It's the
Okay, that's
Oh my god, that's fantastic. Oh my god. Oh my god, I was not expecting that at all.
What were you
That's
expecting?
so great. I was just expecting, he's going to take Eye of the Tiger, and I know that bass line from the other song. I just can't remember
I know, I
what
did
the
the
other
same
song
thing.
is. But I was just expecting those two songs to
It's
be
Need You
just,
Tonight by
That's
NXS.
it. Need You Tonight. That's it. I was like, I know, I've heard that song.
Yeah.
Anyway, yeah. So I was just like, okay, cool. I love a good mashup, but that's not at all what this is. It's so funny. Oh my gosh.
It's so really, really funny. I love it so much, and you have to listen to the whole
I
song
will
for
do
all the
that.
tigers.
That is so fantastic and so topical. Oh man, I'll play this for you after the podcast. But right after Tiger King came out, Ingrid Michaelson, who is one of my favorite singers, actually did a single with this country singer, and it's called like I Saw Tiger or something. Or Joe Exotic's song is called I Saw Tiger. No, her song is called Young Men and Tigers.
Oh yeah, that's kind of.
It's fantastic.
Though this song,
I want to learn how to play it.
this song predated Tiger Kings
Really?
from 2017.
Oh my god!
So it's kind of
he's a bit of a prophet then.
yeah of the tiger craze.
I love it so much.
But yeah, so
That's
there's
brilliant.
There's he has like a few albums using his real name, which because he has other monikers, but those are like the mashups, and they're all on YouTube. And it's just really enjoying that. But again, his name, and I'm gonna do it again, try to pronounce it, is Neil Cicierega. If it's not right, blame Wikipedia. 'Cause that's how they told me to pronounce it. And it's spelled Cicierega. So
Sweet.
yep, that's my pick.
Awesome.
Top that, Melissa.
Well, yeah. Oh my gosh. I mean, I don't necessarily know if I can, but honestly, I was absolutely blindsided by a movie this past
Ooh.
week. Maybe you can guess what it is. I'm not sure. But it's a little indie film called On the Rocks.
Oh yeah, I feel like I've heard about this.
Yeah. You think?
I was gonna be like, I know Melissa's gonna do On the Rocks, so I'll just do.
See, I kind of wish we would have both just done On the Rocks, but anyway.
We saw it together.
Yes. We went to the lovely and very plush Studio One theaters here in Portland. They're one of the only games in town, I think, that is doing that service right now. And I was just so absolutely charmed and delighted and so happy. And if you want to watch a movie about an actual real adult relationship,
yes,
watch On the Rocks. It's
the moral
so
of
good.
that story is communicate. Also,
Yes, which is what they do.
Yeah.
Yes, absolutely. Rashida Jones's character makes mistakes because she follows Bill Murray's character's advice. Her dad's advice. Absolutely. But in the I'm not going to spoil everything because you really should watch it. But she and her husband communicate like adults.
Yeah.
It's so refreshing. And if you don't feel comfortable going out to see it at a movie theater, it is streaming on Apple TV Plus.
Oh, nice. Is it if you have Apple TV Plus account?
Mm-hmm.
Nice.
You can watch it. Yep.
Yeah, you should do that more than see then. You should get it for the movie. It's Sofia Coppola.
Yes.
It's wonderful.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, it was absolutely charming, and I got to see it with a really awesome friend and a podcaster and co-host.
Oh, whoa, that's crazy because I also did that.
What? Yeah, but I wasn't really sure what to expect, and I was just charmed and delighted.
Nice. Well, I'll have to check it now. I'm just kidding.
You should check it out. But yeah,
I second that. We both approve of our picks. Usually we pick things and the other one's like, fuck this. But today we both approve of each other's picks. But on that note, what are we doing next week, Melissa?
Oh, I'm so glad you asked. So next week, we're going back to trash.
Yes.
Fun trash. I don't think my improv friend would appreciate me calling this movie trash. And I haven't even watched it yet. So we haven't even watched it yet.
I'll call it trash if I decide it is. But
So next week, we're watching the 1990 classic Blind Fury.
yes. Back to movies with blind in the title. Don't make it confusing. Just put it in there.
Which is now the name of our podcast. Blind Fury.
Actually, it's kind of good because this episode was Blind Fury, basically. And last week, I mean, I don't know if it was always. We're just going to we'll try to make the theme of the episode whatever the title of the next movie is.
There you go.
Because I was really mad in this episode. But yeah, I'm looking forward to this. Do you know where it can be launched?
Yes. You can watch it on good old Amazon Prime. It is streaming. Yeah, well, it's streaming everywhere, but you can, if you have a Prime account, you can watch it for no money on Amazon.
Dude, and this movie too, but like, you don't have to watch always on Amazon Prime, but we're getting some good. I feel like this is like and also Repo. So this is the third movie in a row you can stream on Amazon Prime.
Yeah,
so
yeah. There,
get that account if you
I've
care.
definitely disparaged Amazon Prime in the past because
Yeah.
using their video app is like banging
It
my head
sucks.
against the wall. But yeah, I
And
don't
their
know.
subtitle stuff.
And their
sucks.
subtitle sucks. Yeah, but I don't know. Amazon is they're coming out swinging.
Yeah, they
Third
get
one
some
in a
good
row.
content right now, or at least they have good content that's specific for us being able to record this podcast. Like I can't exactly say that the movie we watched this week is good content, but it's quantity, I guess,
Right,
over quality.
It's the exact opposite of Blue Star Donuts.
yeah, exactly. Yeah, so I think that's it. We come next week. We have Blind Fury. We'll see if maybe that episode will just be like super tranquil and like we'll be like, oh, it's wonderful.
I'm sure.
Okay, so our theme song is by Lucia Fasano. Our YouTube is Citizen White Cane Podcast, and our Twitter is White Cane Pod. Our Instagram and our Facebook are both Citizen White Cane, and our email address is citizenwhitecanepod@gmail.com. If you'd like to leave us a voice message, there's a link in the show notes. What would be like the disability gift of the Magi scenario that you might fall into?
If you were participating in an underground illegal Thailand boxing fight, would you pass out, win, or die?
What is your blind me cute story that's way better, or that's cute like the first scene and not the rest of this movie? That one is very succinct. All those link in the show notes, and we'll catch us back here for Blind Fury. I'm excited.
Yay.
Bye.
Bye.
Citizen